I just got home from a date and I have a new ick unlocked. It's when you go to a restaurant with a valet and you guys both drive. He doesn't valet his car, which is fine if he parks nearby, but he parks like 2-3 blocks away. And then you get your car and you're driving back home. You pass him still like 2-3 blocks from his car. Something about that is just very, I don't know, it's disheartening. It's very unappealing. You're gonna walk like 4 blocks to this date. Like, I love it, Little John on the streets as much as anybody else, but come on, dude.
This is an interesting ick. It's a stupid one, very immature, and I'm assuming that this is satire. Nevertheless, interesting.
This one's for the men, specifically for the single dads out there right now. Society often paints the fathers right now as a secondary caregiver. But what's changed in the dynamic of all of my friends and a lot of people that I know is that the men are actually the ones who are the emotional stability for their children. No one's talking about all the broken homes. Like, we understand that marriage is not what it used to be, but you have so many men out here being the only thing that their kid knows as far as stability, financial support, emotional regulation. A lot of times they're the ones setting their child up for success as far as saying, hey, this is what's acceptable and what's not, and setting the ground rules, oftentimes without the support of the mother. And no one's talking about it. And I just want to say that I see you. It actually makes me pretty emotional. I was talking to my friend the other day and I started crying because he was doing such a beautiful job. He's alone. He's taking care of his 5-year-old daughter, doing the best he absolutely can. And by the way, it's better than most people could do as a couple. And no one's giving any kind of praise to these dads out here. So I'm here. I see you. I see you loving your child. I see you working. I see you putting in the time, being a different dad than yours was to you. You're doing a good job. And society doesn't tell you that enough. So I want you to hear it, and I want you to actually feel what I'm saying to you, because I don't say shit I don't mean. You're doing the best you can with what you have, and it's phenomenal. Keep being the amazing father that you already are.
I'm asking for a friend here. What's a girl gotta do to get a good man? Huh? What is it? What's the secret? What does she have to do to get a good man? Apparently it's just drive down the street. Shit.
An STD. I had contracted HPV. And he proceeded to tell me that the strand that she had was one of the kinds that the vaccine does not protect you from. Like an idiot, I ignored the diagnosis, and I felt so paralyzed by the information that he gave me about his ex that I basically just accepted that I was going to have this for the rest of my life, and I was screwed and I fucked myself. And like every single pap smear for the next 4 years came back HPV positive. So I went in for this procedure. I still hadn't told my mom or any of my friends. And most importantly, I hadn't told Matt. At this point, Matt and I were starting to get serious and we were dating. And for the first time, it just sucked because I could really envision a future with a man. This is like not what I want to do and not what I want to bring up, but I knew I was going to have to be honest about it. So I scheduled my...
Well, there's nothing to see here. Just modern women on the verge of committing a full-blown crime. A full-blown crime, and then bragging about it. Because that's what they do. For some reason that they think that this is okay to say. this is information that's okay to release. It's like those rappers that they'll be talking about the crimes that they committed. This is what I see modern women as doing on their podcast.
So guys, I got some bad news for you. Nobody's coming for you. And I don't think it's that people don't care. I think they don't know what to do, and some don't care. I don't think a lot of women care. And so that means you guys have got to mobilize. It means that the older guys, you need to help the younger guys, and you younger guys, you need to fire up the older guys, and you guys have got to pull it together, and you've got to form something that's fierce. And it's got to actually be more fierce than the feminist movement, because that's who you're up against. You are up against them. And I'm not trying to pit anybody against anyone, but the truth is that when women got equality, and I don't care what you say, we have ridiculous equality. We have ridiculous equality. But when that happened, men, you've become less equal. And you are looked at as a check in what you can do or what you can build or what you do for society. And it's even in the church. I'm pro-marriage. I believe that under, the covenant of marriage that God gave us can work. Just not many of us are doing a good job of obeying and following God. And so the truth is that most Christian marriages are going to end in divorce. And you sweet men, like you actually want better. It's the women that are asking for the divorces. And I know they're going to say, well, it's because the husband's ... I don't think that's the case. So I think we better be getting some prenuptial agreements. I think we better figure out before we get married in these Christian marriages, what are we doing with our children? How are we going to handle the children? Because if you let the courts decide, dad's going to hardly ever get to see that kid. And all he's going to do is be a check. And the mom's going to be right there fierce and fighting for it. So I know I'm not saying some popular things, but I don't care. Men, we care about you. Men, there are some that are fighting for you, but you're going to probably have to get some crazy redheaded woman like me to join you that doesn't have any fear of losing anything or has anything to lose, or doesn't matter if she's canceled or, or fired. Like, that's what you're going to need. You're going to need a crazy woman to bring in your mix that can make you guys look tame, and she's the crazy one to make some headway back. So where we just pay attention and we start talking about suicide rate and divorce rate and depression rate and how you don't have equality in divorce court and in family court. We've got to do better for you. But the bottom line is you're going to have to do better for yourselves.
So what type of guy are you? Are you the type of guy who falls in love with a girl and starts a family and then cheats on her and leaves? Or are you the type of guy who gets to know a girl and ruins her life for a couple years and then leaves? Or do you sleep with a girl and then give it a day or two and give her a call and then be, hey, how's it going? And then lead her on for a couple weeks, then ghost her? Or do you to just talk to girls for a month and then ghost them? Or tell them that you're going to come over for dinner and hang out and never show up? What kind of guy are you?
This next clip really embodies why I talk about what I talk about on my platform. This woman is the perfect example of why it's so frustrating for women like myself that are good women to try to remain good, because with this type of behavior, it sets the tone to thinking that all women are the same. And this clip that I'm going to show you is just one of many. And if you really go down the rabbit hole, you can actually see how toxic these types of women actually are.
We gon' spin and kill deep in the spot.
Some of these women really try to wear a hoe phase as a badge of honor when it should be treated like a scarlet letter. It's not a flex to have multiple men around your children. It's not a flex to have men sneaking in and out of your house before your kids wake up. It's not a flex to do the walk of shame as a mother of 3. But then what's even more interesting is these women actually get online and brag about these types of hoe phases as if it's something to be proud of. Imagine being so self-centered that you'd rather put your sexual empowerment above being a better role model for your children and above having more self-respect and self-worth, and calling it a healing journey. Feminists have brainwashed these women into thinking that giving up their sexual empowerment and their value is going to somehow make them a better person, and it tricks them into thinking that they have higher value, but it's not valuable, and it doesn't make you a better person. And even though these women make the decision to be in a hoe phase in the first place, somehow it's going to become the men's fault. Bragging about this type of thing on the internet is only going to attract one type of man. And then when those men are in her DMs, it just solidifies her idea about the patriarchy, misogyny, and the value of men and what they hold and what they bring to the table. And if all of that is not bad enough, this woman actually has in her bio that she's a relationship coach. So then you're able to pay for her shitty advice while she's telling other women that a hoe phase is acceptable and a way of healing. But then what ends up happening is when she's out of this hoe phase or this phase of life that's become a personality trait and she meets the right guy, she has two options. She can either lie to him about her past or she can come clean. And when that man decides not to be with her because she has a hoe phase or has a past that he's not comfortable with, now it's his fault for having a preference, even though she put herself in that position in the first place. And then when respectable men decide to call her out on her poor behavior, or when women like myself decide to call her out, suddenly it's misogynistic and she holds no accountability for her behavior. And the reality is the only role that she's really trying to play is the martyr role, and the only thing being sacrificed is her self-worth. Okay, bye.
Gone are the days where you could just meet a good girl, a feminine, nurturing woman who isn't going to play head games with you, who isn't seeing multiple men while pretending that you're the only person that she's talking to.
Everyone's going to call me a pick-me when I say this, but men do not understand the power that one good man has on the planet. It's the ripple effect, the positive impact it leaves on women that have had super bad, hard experiences, the positive impact on themselves and everyone they interact with. We need to be getting more comfortable with our rage, more comfortable with our sadness, pain, and joy. Get comfortable with your joy and your centeredness and groundedness. The impact that one good man has on the planet is incredible. Don't stop fighting.
I really do worry that some women are becoming too far left to date. And I don't mean that they're so far left in their own politics that men don't want to date them. I don't necessarily think that's the case, but I do think that a lot of them are so far left, so far into their echo chambers that they can no longer socialize normally, no matter what the guy's politics are. Like, I saw a video of a girl saying, just been on a date with a man for the first time in ages, and I fear I've become too woke to date men anymore. Now, she isn't saying that she had one bad date because the guy was a Trump supporter or something like that. She's literally just realizing that she's spent so long in her echo chamber that she no longer fits into the world outside it. Second case in point, that recent Vogue article about is having a boyfriend embarrassing now? Which is one thing because obviously it's just one article and could just be clickbait, but if you go into the comments anytime it's posted, you'll see that a lot of women genuinely do feel that way. People saying it feels Republican to have a boyfriend, or maybe I'm too woke, but wifey material sounds like an insult. But I think a lot of this is a function of two different things, and neither of them is the fact that it's actually embarrassing to have a boyfriend. First, the gender divide between men and women is really freaking strong, and it's getting way worse in Gen Z. Here in the US, we don't have it as bad as, say, South Korea, but it still is really pronounced. And women are the ones getting more extreme to the left than men are to the right, basically across the board globally. But the second aspect that I don't think enough people talk about is that the echo chamber that a lot of these women are in, if they're political, especially online, means that they don't interact with normal people on a regular basis. The bulk of a lot of these women's social interactions on a regular basis is TikTok or other social media, or their friend groups after they've already canceled out everyone who disagrees with them. So they don't remember how to socialize outside of their bubbles, and dating is the only way that has a chance to happen. Unfortunately, I do think that this issue is going to be self-perpetuating because these women are the exact same ones who won't have boyfriends to chill them out, because apparently that's embarrassing.
As a licensed private detective, these are tricks I've seen females utilize to cheat on men. And ladies, in the realm of infidelity in the last 15 years, this is the ingenuity and capabilities women utilized to commit infidelity on their men. In most of these cases, over 90%, nobody's deleting evidence, okay? They're just designing anonymity. Most of it's by use of the phone, as you can imagine. A lot of it's through privacy settings. A lot of it's through socials, and in particular, innovative ways that it was carried out. But without further ado, here we go. Number one, anonymous accounts. Just like a trap phone, it's a trap account. You have your main account that everybody knows about, that your boyfriend knows about, that your husband knows about. Then you got one or two other accounts hooked up to different emails, or the same friggin' email, and you're using those accounts unbeknownst to them. It's often an account size of a business account. You know how they give you the option? It's often a business account. Number two, disappearing chats. Let me tell you something. You know why? Disappearing chats. Number 3, something called controlled transparency. Controlled transparency is the following. Hey honey, check out this DM I got. It's so silly, so stupid. And then something along the lines of scrolling through an open feed in front of you, purposely, so you see it. Controlled transparency includes what you call breadcrumbs for the taking. Number 4, private stories and archive posts. Things that are behind the scenes of a regular nature, but only privy for a special person. I handled the case where I saw the guy's device and he showed me her account. The majority of the evidence was in her drafts. Who goes in somebody's drafts? Using the mechanisms of the platform. Essentially, hiding behind the algorithm.
I don't think you guys really understand that once a man drills down on a modern woman, that's going to be about the end of it. That's going to be about the end of it. A man already knows what's up. It's just that he's too busy. You're not as slick as you think you are. The man is just busy. He's got to work. He's got to figure out how to provide for his family. Some of these brothers have kids. I got to figure out how to provide for my kids. I don't have time. I don't have time to sit around and think about what my wife is doing, to figure out if she's cheating or she's doing the right thing. I'm hoping that she's doing the right thing. That's why I try to choose her, because I would think that she's doing the right thing. But if a man really starts to say, you know what, let me see if, there's something going on. Once a man gets time, take a couple of days, want to get to the bottom of this. I don't think some of you guys understand that some of these brothers, they'll sit up in a deer stand for hours on end. They'll be up there for some even for days. It's freaking ridiculous. The dedication. I'm looking for something certain, and I'm not leaving here until I find it. Might take a break. Might go get something to eat, wash up, get clean. But I already know how to hunt. I already know how to track my prey. I know the smell or the lack thereof. I know what type of clothing. I know the colors. I know how to breathe. I know what sounds to make in order to attract and trap my prey. You don't want to be on the end of that. And no, I'm not talking about men taking women out. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying, once a man gets in his mind, you got to think that these are the same men on agencies, whole agencies, catching. That's why you have conspiracy theories. Because people are like, really? You as a government with all the intelligence, I've seen you catch people that are lesser. I've seen you do more to people who are a lesser criminal. And you're saying that you couldn't catch this person over here? Sometimes they're right. They could have, but they just didn't because of the intelligence of the man. I just decided to let him go. There's something bigger at play. So you guys think that with your Snapchat and your this and your that you're going to get away? Okay. All right. Y'all think that men are too dumb to track you down? Be careful out there.
Every time I have a crush on a new man, my friends are like, oh my God, who is it? Like, show me a photo. And then I show them a photo and they're like, why do you like him? Like, what do you see in him? And honestly, like, he made me laugh once and I never forgot about it, okay?
I have nothing appropriate to say about men that wear their work outfits out in public. Like, if you're a construction worker or a painter per se, and you're wearing your dirty, grimy, nasty after work clothes because you needed to come to the mall to get something, or you needed to, like, I don't know, go to dinner with your mommy, but you just didn't have time. Like, that's so hot. Like, I really do appreciate a man in work boots, like combat fucking boots, a little bit of paint on his neck, and he's sitting down and he's enjoying a food court meal. I don't know. I love it.
Guys, these are women that you should stay far away from. And I'm going to tell you this from my experience because I was each of these women in this lifetime until I healed myself. So number one is the woman that needs a lot of attention and validation. First off, this is the beat bopper. She can go around, she can talk to everyone, and she's going to want attention from everyone around, even if you're standing next to her, because she doesn't get full validation from you. She needs dopamine hits from the people around her, whether that's at a bar, at a party, wherever. She also does not feel fulfilled within herself, so she's going to look for those dopamine hits, and when you can no longer provide those for her, she will get bored and leave you.
You want to know what makes me feel really good after a bad, long day? Nothing. Get the fuck out of my face.
If you add me on social media and I add you back and you message me literally like 0.2 seconds later, do not expect a reply from me. Don't even expect one 2 business days later. You'll probably get a message back, hopefully, probably not, in like a year. And that's probably why I'm single, but I don't care.
Trying to find your person in your 40s is a lot like a game of hide and seek. But I'm going to need you to go ahead and find me because these hoes are out here doing me dirty. They're doing me dirty.
So this is a question for the guys. So I know many guys have said that they don't want to approach women anymore. Like, they're not going to approach her at a grocery store. They're not going to approach her at the gym. They're not going to approach her at the bar because why? Most women can just frankly be rude to guys or don't want them talking to him or don't want them talking to her. So, question for these guys that would say they don't approach women. If a woman went out of her way to make eye contact with you, looked away, looked back, maybe even held the gaze for a couple seconds, made sure she was within proximity of you, as well as then smiled at some point. If a woman goes to that extent, would you then change your mind on approaching her? Or do you just want the woman to approach you? I know some women don't want to do that because they're old school and that's kind of how I am. But I also am just like, if I want to talk to someone, I'll just go talk to them. But maybe I'm different in that way. But would this change your mind, guys? Let me know in the comments.
So many people cheat and have affairs. And here's who does it the most, according to my data, and how they are doing it. I'm Dr. Sarah Hensley. I'm a specialized social psychologist, and I've been studying attachment science for nearly 20 years. And what I'm about to tell you is just from the data in my practice. So this is definitely not any kind of national data. There's not a study that I'm referring to. I usually work from the science, but I see these things so often that I just want to share with you who I see doing it and how they are doing it. First of all, the people that I see doing it the most are people that travel for work, like for long periods of time. Obviously, not everybody who is in these professions are going to cheat, but a lot of them do. They are gone weeks, days at a time, so it allows them to have more casual affairs when they are traveling with people that they do not know. The people that are cheating consistently with one partner tend to be in the medical profession. Sorry guys, again, that's just what I see in my practice. Of course, not every medical professional does this, so don't come after me. And stay-at-home moms. Like, it's a big thing that I see, stay-at-home moms. And usually when they talk to me, they're of more avoidant attachment style, usually dismissive avoidance. And yes, we do have a correlate there of dismissive avoidance being the most likely attachment style to cheat, because when they are with a new partner and that partner is low stakes, they can sort of do a vulnerability dump with that new partner where their vulnerability has been shut down from the longevity, conflict, and expectation in their primary relationship. And the way that they are doing it is that they have an entirely different device that their spouse does not know about. So they are able to share location with spouse on primary phone that's connected to their family phone plan. And then they are getting another phone on a month-to-month plan, like through Cricket or some other type of month-to-month plan, and like Straight Talk or something like that. And their spouse doesn't know. They can leave their phone at work. They can leave their phone at the hotel. They can leave their phone anywhere. And their spouse thinks that they're at that location and they have a whole nother device with an entirely different life on it. Usually what I see behind that is something called effort justification, which is a social psychological theory that the more risk we take with something or the more effort we put into something, the more we are going to make it mean to us and the more sort of we are going to want it. So if you blow up your family or risk blowing up your family, you are going to view that thing you blew your family up for as being really great, even if it's not really great. So this is very unfortunate that I'm seeing such mass cheating, it feels like, in my practice, but it is what it is. People usually find me when they're on their last.
If you're having a bad day, just remember it would be a whole lot worse if you were still married.
Basically, I'm just very clear on what I want. There's a lot of boxes that need to be ticked. I know this man is out there. And it's just a matter of finding him. 7-figure salary.
Right.
Already said morning routine.
Yes.
That includes some sort of exercise with group accountability, as well as some sort of very high nutrition, I'm going to say smoothie. At least 5'10". I feel like that's generous. I need him to be obviously in very good shape. I need him to have a full head of hair. That's very important to me.
Okay.
Be a Christian, but not take it too seriously. Like, I don't want to have to go to church every Sunday, but I don't want to get into fights over religion either.
Sure. Of course.
I want him to have an impeccable wardrobe. I want his suits to be tailored. I want him to look good in greens and blues because those are complementary to what I look good in. Absolutely no jewelry.
Okay.
Absolutely no tattoos.
Okay.
Unless the only tattoo that would be acceptable would be a very small tattoo if he were in a secret society at an Ivy League university and was forced to get a tattoo, that I would make a pass for.
She was forced.
I want him to be from a good family. I'll know what that means when I see it, or what more well said, I'll know what wouldn't satisfy that criteria when I see it.
Okay.
Never been married, no kids. I want to be his first wife. Our children are going to be his only children. No allergies. Has to like animals. I would prefer that he's a cat person, but if he's a dog person, that's okay. I think that's it.
Yeah.
How soon can you find the man that satisfies this checklist? Are we talking a week?
You know, I refuse to believe that this isn't a joke. I refuse to believe that this is not satire. You know, no, she's joking. She's playing. This type of stuff, she's joking. There's no reason to take her seriously. With her saying stuff like this, it's a joke. It has to be a joke. I'm not falling for it.
Unpopular opinion, but being a man in today's world might actually be one of the hardest jobs on the planet. And here's why. So check this out. Women say they want sensitivity, but not too much sensitivity. Share your emotions, but don't you dare share too many or suddenly you are weak. They say be a good leader, but in the same breath, I'm not following you anywhere because I'm Miss Independent. How does that even work? They want strength with just the right amount of vulnerability, honesty, but not so honest that it points out their flaws, because then you are the bad guy. They expect you to read their damn mind, but if you assume what they're thinking, you're wrong. Be financially stable, but also have endless free time to give all your attention to me, because doesn't financial stability take time to build? When you hear these requests out loud, you realize how much they contradict each other. Sounds confusing, right? But imagine being the man who's expected to figure all of this out. So here's the question. Do men really have it easier? Or are we just not being honest about how impossible these expectations really are? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I know this one is going to spark a debate.
Never in the 28 years of my life did I think that after being objectified so much as a woman would I ever become the objectifier. Until yesterday, I'm at lunch with a bunch of people, and one of the guys there was the star of the show. Why? He had a softball size bulge in his package area. Okay? He had an Amazon package for a dick, and I'm gonna tell you what, there ain't no softballs in there, dude. It was staring at everybody. No one could stop talking about it. No one could stop looking at it because it had fucking eyes. His anaconda did, dude. He had the Great Wall of China in his pants. I'm like, how long does it take you to finish, dude? You need to enter the marathon with that thing because you will win with that third leg, bro. And never would I ever recommend anyone to go on a diet if they don't want to, dude. But I think his dick needs Jenny Craig. His dick needs a diet, okay? He's got to chill on those aphrodisiacs. I'm just like, bro, I think the genie's stuck. How many times you been rubbing it? Let him out, bro. I've never seen a dick that big through pants. I've never seen a dick that big. I was like, let him out. I think he is stuck.
You know, that might be somebody else's man that you're lusting over. And you're saying it online, but y'all don't like to be objectified. So, you know, just kind of be careful with that. Be mindful of the things that you say. You know, read the vibes, you know, that type of stuff.
I have now reached that age where a guy will reach out to me and I have to think, wait a second, how old are you?
Y'all, just when I think that women can't get any more delusional, I run across a creator that proves me wrong. She was talking about how men don't know how to lead anymore and that a woman's world needs to be shaken up, that a woman needs that constant thrill. I don't know, Jessica, if you need a constant thrill, go watch a Netflix series. And she also said a man who is out there financially providing a roof over the head, paying the bills, it's now the bare minimum. Did you know that? So now a man that provides peace and stability is now looked at as boredom. Honey, you're not bored, you are dysfunctional. And what that also tells me is you are depending on a man to fill a void that you need to fix. And boredom happens when you lose gratitude. And in this video, all I heard was me, I. And the part that confuses me on all this is these women will cry, oh, I want a masculine man. I want a provider. I want to protect her. And then you have it right in front of you and then you get bored with it. And then you toss it to the side and move on to the next toxic dysfunction that brings you that thrill because you need to do the inner work. I'm going to go tag her video in my story and y'all can go watch it and let me know what you think.
Here's the problem with Sydney Sweeney. She is so fucking beloved by men everywhere. It makes everyone else hate her guts. And it's not necessarily her fault. This whole interview is going viral and like everyone's like, oh, she fucking sucks. You know, she won't talk. She won't say a thing because she's secretly racist. And it's like, no, that hate is coming. And I get it. Like, I feel it too. I look at her, I'm like, come on, just because she has huge bajungas, like you're going to give up your firstborn child? It's frustrating that like men can be so, they can ride for someone, a woman so hard. Why? Because she has ginormous sandbags. And yeah, this frustrates society as fuck, like completely, and I get it. But at the same time, if I was doing this interview and this fucking lady was interviewing me and she was asking me about like promotional tactics and she was asking me about an ad that I did that wasn't really read well. And she's like, what does that mean in terms of like today's society and white power and racism? I would have said, suck my dick and eat it too. That's what I would have said. Sydney said, when I want to speak on something, you'll hear about it. I would have said, I have a mountain of dicks I would love to shove in your fucking mouth, you fucking cunt. So, I mean, she was pretty graceful, you know? And I just want to make it aware that people really hate her. I think the true reason why people hate her is because men fucking love her. And men love, like, no women, but they love her because of her tits. And we're like, come on!
I'd love to see this study. Now, I don't know if this is true or not based off the comment, but if it is true, like, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's a combination of many factors: COVID, technology, isolation, loneliness, all the things that probably have contributed to this statistic. But now that we have the awareness, how can we encourage people to approach others in a kind, respectful way? I think fear is really what holds us back at the end of the day. So how can we encourage people to not let fear get the best of them and to shoot their shot in life? And this can go with romantic relationships, but even platonic ones. A lot of people complain how it's so hard to meet new friends and make new friends. But how often are people actually putting themselves out there to initiate the start of a friendship when that friendship is not from a shared social circle or just matter of convenience and proximity? We need to start approaching other people in a kind, respectful, and easy way. After all, we're wired to be social creatures.
I think a lot of men are looking at women and they're very liberal, they're overweight, they have a very high estimation of themselves. I think that people call it hoflation. Hoflation? Yes, their sense of their own looks and sexual value is very inflated. And so a lot of people are looking at these frumpy, obnoxious, loudmouth, liberal women who are also very promiscuous and saying this is not actually appealing at all.
50% of men aged 18 to 30 haven't approached a woman in the last year.
And the men that have approached are doing remarkably well. More than half have gotten a date from it. And it goes down if you look to long-term relationships, how many dates turn into a long-term relationship. But the men who are approaching, they're doing pretty well, actually.
Of that 50% of them did get a date.
Might have even been about 70%. At least got a date or a phone number or some kind of romantic connection there. People that approach women, they're getting dates from it.
Given the fact that this is an exclusively agentic decision that you're making, if you have a little bit more confidence in yourself, it's going to make making the decision more easy. But ultimately, there's a huge chunk of people in that 50% that are doing it that probably are just as unsure and just as terrified and just as uncertain as you are. So yeah, I mean, that's a serious white pill for why you should approach women.
I don't know what possibly could be a better ad for just do it.
Just do it!
Ask the girl out! Buy her dinner! Hold the door open for her! What's the worst that could happen? She says no. Half of all the men aged 18 to 30 haven't approached a woman in the last year. Obviously, I think there are a lot of reasons for that, which we can decode separately, but you have everything to gain from asking a woman out on a date. Part of the reason I am marrying my now fiance is because he didn't even ask me on a date. He told me, hey, we're going on a date, okay? And I said, great!
I was looking at the comments in this post, and there was a lot of comments making light of it, joking around, ooh, men are in their flop era. No, when I read this, I had a pit in my stomach. This goes beyond men are in their flop era. We are living through a paradigm shift in society. And when ChatGPT rolls out corn by the end of the year, I think that dating and society will be unrecognizable in a year from now, because there's already so many people who are having full-blown relationships with AI and who are not developing social skills and dating skills and respect for other human beings in the outside real world. Once AI is able to service that aspect of life, relationship, whatever you want to call it, there is going to be no reason for these men who are having full-blown relationships with AI to ever stray from them. And that's really scary.
That sounds great. But a lot of men, once again, it's risk reward. It's return on investment. I'm not looking at just getting the phone number. Oh yeah, well, they got the phone number, they got a date. I'm not looking just at one specific date. I'm looking at the entirety. Do I believe that this has the chance to go the distance? It might not. But based on what's been said, and this is why men ask for your body count and basically they ask you about your past and so many other things, is because they're trying to calculate, hey, what's going to happen? So I know how to hedge. So I know how to protect myself. So I know how to prepare. That's why they're asking. And so with everything going on in modern society, that's what they're coming up with is, I might get the number, I might not. But based on what I've been hearing, when I do get the number, when I do go on a date, then it's probably going to be somebody giving me a long list of standards. There was this one woman that said, "Oh man, this guy is so fine. I just had to give him my number." The guy didn't ask, by the way. So she slid in his DMs and she was like, "Hey, you're so fine. I had to holler at you. I might let you take me out on a date." Never heard back from him. Never heard back. And we know why.
We are witnessing the end of men. Usually when we see these headlines of the end of men, it's like men are failing in schools, men don't have any friends, men can't go on dates, men are having sex anymore, men are addicted to drugs, men are killing themselves. But men aren't just killing themselves, they're killing each other. And you know who endangers men the most? Other men. I'm gonna say it. The greatest threat to our boys and their safety are the older men who are in power, who have influence, who have money, and who do nothing to keep them safe, and actually who go out of their way to put them in harm's way by blocking any kind of common sense gun control, by blocking any kind of regulation of violent speech online, or even violent videos like the assassination video that was just sent and up and amplified because of these algorithms that these men have built. When we say young men are being radicalized, we have to say by who. We have to say because of who. There are people who could be protecting these boys, particularly men who could be protecting these boys, who aren't doing it, and in fact are putting their own greed, their own self-interest above the safety of their own gender. I am so sick of this. Young men and boys need protection. They need guardrails. So stop asking women to have empathy for the male loneliness crisis and ask the men who have built the algorithms, who have built the society in which those men are so lonely and those young boys end up to be radicalized, and ask them what they're doing about it.
You know, I actually wonder how many people have seen me and thought, wow, she's really pretty. And then had a conversation with me and thought, she might have autism.
What have you learned about men that surprised you when you were escorting?
I mean, the fact that they're extremely surprising, but it was something about like the narrative where the guy like transformed from
man to werewolf.
Yeah, the man to werewolf thing. And like it was so visceral and strong, and it occurred basically every time where I'm like, oh, a guy's just gonna lose himself in bed.
Do you think he feels more comfortable to do that because he's paying you and he doesn't feel like he has to focus on regular norms?
I think guys still are very much bound by regular norms when they're paying me most of the time. Probably, I would say 80% of men are probably having sex with me the way that they would if it were like a girl that they met on a date.
So basically, for the most part, and I'm not condoning this, but we hear all of the extreme stories of how men are doing crazy stuff, and I'm not saying that they're not. But for her saying this, for the vast majority of the guys that come to see her, or they did, they would do normal stuff. But they would do stuff that they would do with a woman on a date, which translates to, I'm not going to go crazy, but there's some things that I would like to try. Might be some things I would have loved to try with my wife. I remember that story about a man marrying his wife who had been out in the street. Now, that was his fault. But what he was expecting from her was for her to kind of bring some of that into the marriage. And instead, what he got was her basically doing nothing. Nothing at all. Like just honestly and truly laying there. Just boring stuff. And he got a little peeved at that. He was like, why do you give the other guys all this other stuff and do all of these other things? But then with me, you give me like the basic stuff, like the bare minimum stuff. I don't get that. This is what men are doing with escorts. The vast majority of them. Like I said, not condoning it. I'm just saying.
For the past couple of weeks, me and a few people have been having these conversations how there's a lack of attractive men in the dating pool. There's plethora of beautiful women who take care of themselves. They put effort into their hair, their outfits, and their physique. While a lot of men do not do the same thing. They kind of just work a 9 to 5 and just sit and watch football. I digress. But that conversation, well, those conversations just unlocked a memory in my head. So it was probably maybe 2 years ago. I was just out and about in the bars, blah, 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 with a few friends. Some guys came to approach us just to talk. And mind you, this man is out of shape, okay? Like beer belly and all. Proceeds to ask me if I think I will be fat after pregnancy and out of shape. Then he follows it up by saying, I cannot be in a relationship or marry a woman who will get fat and out of shape after pregnancy. Sir, you look like you're 36 weeks pregnant and you can't even get pregnant. Anyways, I looked at his belly and I was like, you really asking me that question? And I proceeded to tell him how I wouldn't date someone who doesn't have a six-pack. And man, did he get upset about that.
So many women out there who are not enjoying the sex that they're having. And I'll tell you why. It's not any fault of men. It's not any fault of any of ours. But the way that we are taught to have sex heavily prioritizes male pleasure. So I'll go into the full like science geek out on you here. What's happening when we have intercourse is not the most pleasurable activity for women. We actually polled our audience before. We have over 1 million people in our community on Instagram. And we asked women, is intercourse the most pleasurable activity for you? I want you to guess what percentage of women said yes, it is. Intercourse is the most pleasurable activity for me.
Well, you said it's not very many. I'll say.
I know. I set you up a little bit.
40%.
9.
Wait, what? 9%?
9% of women
Enjoy sexual intercourse.
say that intercourse is the most pleasurable activity for them.
No kidding.
9%.
All right, what's the
So
most?
here.
All right, I have a question for the male population. So, any specifically single men, if you're watching this, please comment. And I think this data is going to be really helpful for all single females. If you are a single man and you are out working or out and about, whatever it may be, and a girl approaches you in a friendly, kind way and wants to know if you're single or is just trying to talk to you, do you like that? Do you have any tips on how to do that? I was out with a friend today and we saw a really attractive male in a coffee shop. He was obviously working and we see them all the time, right? We live in Chicago, but we are not just gonna go up to them, right? Not sure how to like ever approach a situation like that, but I'm just really curious from like the male perspective, like what is a good way to do that? Because sometimes I'm really sick of seeing these guys who look like they're working really hard, really cool, but I'm so terrified to approach, but sometimes that's just the situation. So I hope some men see this because I want some feedback. Like let us know some tips and tricks or like just let us know.
Hi, Instagram. I'm pissed. So, I just cannot stand when guys trying to insult me by saying, talking about my age. I'm 38. And the fact that I'm not married. First of all, my age. It's nothing that I have control of, okay? 38. And what I can control is how I look, how I take care of myself, not just like physically, but also spiritually and mentally. So I've been working on that a lot. And about being married. Hey, I know I'm never married, but you know what I'm also I've never been? Divorced. You know the amount of women that I've met in my age and a little bit older that they just got divorced and they have to deal with trauma, kids and all that? I don't have that. So
Somebody in the comments said 38, you say? And then the dude said at least 58. Dang.
Guys, I went on maybe one of the best first dates I have been on in recent years, but maybe ever this weekend. Okay, here's the story. We met on Hinge and we instantly clicked. I mean, it was just immediate banter, immediate conversation. We got deep, we got surface level. We were just really vibing and we weren't messaging for that long. It was probably just a few hours. Eventually he asks me to coffee. I say yes. He sets it up. He asks, what day are you free? What time? Da-da-da. And your girl's excited. Okay, I don't match with a lot of people very often, but this person totally just struck me. I found him very attractive. I liked his prompts. And again, our conversation flowed so quickly, so easily. So I show up to the coffee shop and he shows up right after me and he walks in and I'm just taken aback. I'm taken aback by his beauty. He is just as gorgeous as his photos, if not even more in person. We meet, we hug, instantly we hit it off. It was like that perfect back and forth energy from the chat just translated perfectly into real life. I mean, we literally vibed basically the second we started talking. We get our coffees and we find one table that's available that's nestled right in the corner of the cafe, away from everyone else, like we're in our own little planet. And we talked and talked and talked. We spanned superficial subjects like favorite movies, music, to deep subjects like trauma and our last relationships. And he was the one actually asking me all of the deep questions, and typically it's me. The eye contact was unparalleled. You guys, he was like staring into my fucking soul, and there wasn't a phone in sight. Literally completely undistracted, talking the entire time. After 2 hours, I'm like, I gotta pee. So I get up, I go to the bathroom, I get out of the bathroom, I come back, and this motherfucker ordered another coffee. He was like, I got another drink. I wasn't sure if you wanted something. Do you want me to get you another drink? I was like, excuse me? I literally thought after I was done peeing, we would wrap it up and go home, but this motherfucker was not done yet. He was locked in, ready for round 2. So I was like, sure, yeah, I'll take another tea. So he goes and gets me my tea, comes back to the table, we sit down, and we are literally there for 2.5 more hours. Our entire date was 4.5 hours. You guys, we were sitting across from each other with no distractions, no phones, completely locked in, talking the entire time in riveting conversation for 4.5 hours in the corner of this little coffee shop. It was out of a fucking movie. It was literally rom-com coded. And at one point, we were both crying from laughter, literally tears streaming down our face from laughing so hard from something that we were fucking talking about. So finally, at the end of the day, we're like, holy shit, it's been 4.5 hours. So when we realized the time and started wrapping up the date, it was so sweet. He was like, so if you're interested, I would love to see you again. And I was like, yeah, I'm interested. I would love to see you again. So he took my number because we were just previously messaging on the app. So we walked out of the coffee shop, we hugged goodbye, and that was it. After I had been in my car for all of 2 minutes, I got a text from him, and it was because he turned on his car and a song that we were talking about was playing, and so he made a joke about it, and I made a joke back, and then that was it for that interaction. So we went out on Saturday, and it's now Monday. In my book, proper date etiquette is to follow up the next day and say, hey, I had a really great time. Let's set up that second date. But I have not heard from this motherfucker. I told him on the date, I like to be pursued. I like men to lead. I want you to put in the effort. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm available for right now. So I made it clear. So at this point, I haven't heard from him in over a day, and I've decided that I'm going to give it a solid 48-hour window of time. And if I do not hear from him by the end of today, this man has disqualified himself. My husband is not making me wait. There is no lag time with my husband. Okay, I'm giving him a little bit of runway, right? 2 solid days, 48 hours to reach out. But my husband is really fucking excited to lock down that second date. My husband wants me to know for sure that he is interested and he is pursuing me. So yes, I had a wonderful fucking date with this man, and I would love to see him again. And we did have great connection and great chemistry, but the date doesn't really fucking matter. What matters is what happens after the date. Consistency, effort, showing your interest. This is what I'm interested in. So we'll see. The clock is turning. He has till fucking midnight. I'll keep you guys posted.
Now, you know it's bad. You know men are going to say what they're going to say, but you know it's bad when women are like, get over yourself, text him, please stop this, text him, get out of your own way, text him.